Story 1. Old age. I'm not really sure what that means, but my great-grandfather lived until 104. He had no issues until he went into a home and basically gave up. My grandfather lived to be 99, which is unfortunate because he was excited to turn 100. All my other grandparents and great-grandparents lived until their late 80s. One grandmother just gave up too. She had her church friends come to the home and pray that she would pass away. Story 2. Heart problems, cancer, stroke, addiction, depression, or dementia. My mom was born with a hole in her heart. My granddad had like 20 strokes, heart attacks, and vascular dementia, and somehow still survived to 65. My grandma and my nana have both had cancer multiple times. There have been a few suicides here and there, along with alcoholism, etc. Our genes are legitimately so good. Story 3. Based on my family's love for deep-fried everything, I am probably on track for a dramatic exit courtesy of a spectacularly clogged artery. But hey, at least I will go out with some great meals in my memory bank. Story 4. My great-grandfather was shot while fighting the British. My grandfather was shot while fighting communists. My father got shot while fighting the cartel. My dream is to get shot while fighting space cockroaches. Story 5. Heart failure. Genetic abnormality on my father's side that only affects the males. My great-grandfather, grandfather, and both uncles have all died from it that we know of. All died of a series of heart attacks between the age of 50 to 54. When it was discovered after my uncle died, my dad had to have a double heart bypass to avoid a similar fate. I was told at the age of 12 that I show similar signs and I'll probably have to go through a similar operation soon, and my son will in a few decades. Story 6. Cancer for sure. After losing my sister to it, I had to go through genetic screening. Literally, everyone on my dad's side for the last 4 generations has had cancer. It's less prevalent on my mom's side, but still there. Story 7. Cancer or heart disease. I have diabetes and several autoimmune conditions. All are likely to cause lymphoma. It is not a guarantee, but each condition raises my risk just enough that I know I will be fighting it. I already have been feeling off, and I worry that my doctors are not taking me seriously. It scares me. Story 8. Cancer or just old age. Both my mom's parents lived into their 90s in relatively good health, especially grandma, and my dad is 82 and shows no signs of slowing down. Story 9. All 4 of my grandparents had different forms of cancer. Both grandfathers died of theirs. My grandmothers went into remission. One is still alive, while the other passed away from unrelated causes. The odds are that I'm going to get some form of cancer in my lifetime, and there's a 50% chance I'll die of it. Story 10. Between the various cancers, the heart issues, and the sudden death that could have been a stroke, heart attack, or aneurysm, but no autopsy was performed, so I will never know, my answer is question marks. However, I know it is going to happen in my early 60s if my family history is any indication. No doctors want to screen me for anything, so I guess I just get to wait and see. Very exciting. Story 11. Heart disease. Unlike most of my relatives, I've started going to a cardiologist for several years now and have a pacemaker, so I could do better than they did. Story 12. My ancestor killed someone who claimed to be a wizard. Then his son cursed our bloodline to die at the age of 32. Now, I am the last living member of my family bloodline, and my 32nd birthday is coming soon. Thinking about exploring our family's castle before I go, I guess. Story 13. My mother passed away from a heart attack in her 50s. My dad recently developed a heart condition. Aunts from both my mother's and father's sides have passed away from cancer. Story 14. Cancer and dementia as causes of death. Rheumatism, a slip disc in the lower back, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, and high blood pressure are conditions that will make my life harder. Story 15. If I follow the family trends, I will either die in my 60s or early 70s from cancer or heart disease, or I will live until I'm almost 90 and die peacefully in my sleep. Story 16. Old age. I had a great-grandparent die recently at the age of 97. My great-grandpa still lives at the age of 95. He's healthy and oddly still remembers a lot. Either that or diabetes, arthritis, which runs in my genes. Oh, and alcoholism. lots and lots of alcoholism on both sides of the family. Story 17. Nothing. My grandma is mere skin and bones and shows no signs of stopping. She has fallen several times on her head, had pneumonia, broken shoulders all within the past 5 years. She's 89 now and she is showing absolutely no signs of slowing down. We joke that our grandparents will probably outlive all of us. I think an incredibly important part of living a long life is the will to live. It's heartbreaking, but she's so scared of death that she is holding on until her body will just give up one day. My granny is the same. She's had strokes, falls, and my grandfather died last year, and she's just cruising. She has dementia and Alzheimer's, and she just laughs off the fact that she can't remember a thing. She's accepted this part of her life, and she tries to have fun as much as she can. So in short, I think what will kill me is when I decide to give up. Story 18. I will die at a ripe old age. But it will be because I was stubborn and wanted to fix the electrical wiring during a hurricane. Story 19. If you've done your DNA through 23andMe, I can look at the raw data and see the top homogeneous, heterogeneous, and gene set alleles you have. My top 1 came back with Alzheimer's. After that, I have BRCA1 variants and a gene set of Parkinson's. It also has heart as a top family trait. Story 20. Boozing after surviving a sinking ship. My great-granddad was the last man off the Titanic. Then he boozed hard. My great-granddad on the other side was on the Lusitania when it sank, and a few years later was on a ship called the Arabic when it sank. He then set to boozing. My granddad was on a fishing boat that sank and lost one of his pals, and he set to boozing. I don't work on boats, probably for the best. Story 21. Old age. Great-grandmother, grandmother on the maternal side, both over 100, and grandfather on the paternal side over 100. Or a gastrointestinal hemorrhage caused by diverticulitis between now and then. Story 22. Cancer. My sister and my aunt have gotten cancer, but fortunately, they both have survived. Perhaps my grandmother too, but I can't quite recall. It's just a possibility to either die of cancer, diabetes, or old age. Who knows? Story 23. On my mom's side, some of the women don't live past 70, on my grandma's side. However, her father's side tends to live a long time, close to 100. Heart disease and cancer are common on both sides. My father's side, however, is healthier than horses. So, if I inherit anything from my mom's side, it might be lymphoma or heart disease. But everyone in my family who had cancer survived it. Story 24. Heart attack, unfortunately, but at least it's quick, I suppose. All grandparents died in their sleep. My aunt recently got diagnosed with dementia, though, so that's a new fear unlocked. From talking to others whose parents have suffered from it, 0 out of 10 do not recommend. Story 25. Multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, diabetes, or cancer. I had a screening done recently that ruled out the same cancer that took my mom, so 1 out of 4 probably won't happen, which is nice. Story 26. I'm not sure. My mother passed away last year, but it wasn't from a medical condition. And my dad is still alive. I was never close to him, so I have no idea of his ailments. Story 27. My maternal grandfather died from cancer, and my paternal grandmother has dementia. However, I am chronically depressed, so chances are I will not reach their ages anyway. Story 28. Cancer. My dad died from cancer. His brothers, yes plural, and sister all had cancer. My mom's dad and sister also had cancer. I have an autoimmune disorder. It's a matter of when I get it, not if. Story 29. Childbirth. The women in my family history all died in childbirth around the ages of 17 to 20 until the 1920s when C-sections and hospital births became more common. My grandmother, mother, aunt, and I both never dilated past 4 centimeters in any of our labors, and I don't intend to attempt a vaginal birth after cesarean. Story 30. Very old age or suicide, but I am aware of the potential mental problems. I have done the work and I should be fine, or I could be hit by a bus because you never know. Story 31. Heart disease. I'll either die in the next few years in my 50s or live into my 80s. That is the pattern for the men in my family. You either die young or you can't be killed with a club. Story 32. Based on my grandparents, 50 or 25% cancer, 50 or 25% cardiovascular issues, and 25% assisted suicide due to pain. Based on my dad's side of the family, where everyone lives healthy lives, genetically high cholesterol is going to push me towards cardiovascular issues. No one died young, though all lived to 85 or more, so I guess there's still some time for medicine to come up with solutions.